Susan Smith, and I am joined today by Tabatha and Taylor, who are hosting an upcoming Quilted exclamation point summit for all kinds of quilters, all kinds of makers. So I've invited them into the studio to chat a little bit about it and what it's all about and what you as a quilter can look forward to. So let's meet each of these ladies one at a time. First off, Tabatha, who's kind of at the helm of this whole summit idea.
Susan, it is great to talk to you again. I'm excited to be here. For your listeners, my name is Tabatha Smith. I have been quilting for about 25 years. I own a quilt retreat and an online community called Quilt Queens, and I'm one of the hosts of the Quilted Summit.
Awesome. And Taylor, what's your role in all of this?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me, Susan. So I'm Tabitha's daughter, and I work in digital marketing. And so I run the behind the scenes of our community, bringing people together, getting everything organized, and marketing the summit, which I am very excited and proud to say that we've really put in a lot of time and effort to grow this year. And as of this week, as we're recording, it is now technically the largest online quilting summit in the world.
I'm not surprised. You do a fantastic job of marketing. Now, am I correct? This is only the second time, right? You did one much earlier in 2025. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And I was a presenter in that one too. So that was my whole experience was that one, which I think was a smashing success. But you do a great job of not only doing your own marketing, but of providing us as presenters with the tools that we need to market it well also. And it's paying off. So I'm happy to see that. But let's back up a little bit and talk about what is the summit all about? And maybe for this year specifically, what is the theme? What is the overarching message of this summit for quilters?
Well, um, we basically kept the same idea of using what you have because, we realized that this has been a hard year for a lot of people. They can't just go out and buy, $200 worth of fabric, right? So, using what you have, working in your stash, making something beautiful of something maybe you didn't think went together, but wow, you can pull this together. It looks amazing. Finishing your projects, your UFOs, whether that's you're doing on your domestic or your long arm, sending it out, getting those projects done so that, when the time comes and you're ready to buy more fabric, you can do it and work with that because you don't have 50 UFOs looking at you in the corner. I speak from experience there. Um, so we've really tried to do that. We've tried to bring an eclectic group of speakers that all have a little bit different take on the quilting world in as far as the scrapping and the UFO and that type of thing.
That sounds awesome. And honestly, your mission, and this is kind of your mission as a quilter too, and a business owner, Tabitha, am I right? Is to help people finish what they've begun. Whatever roadblock is holding them up, get through that, work through it, find a solution, and finish the thing. This is very dear to my heart too. And of course, I come to it from the standpoint of the quilter because machine quilting is my wheelhouse. But the same idea in mind, the projects that you've got, the patchwork pieced and the UFOs that are hanging in your closet not quite done, and you think you've got to wait for a long armor or wait until you can afford to pay someone. I want to show quilters that they're empowered to finish that for themselves. But I have a funny story for you ladies about UFOs. Just last week, I was in London, England, and I had gone over with a tour, and we were catching the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham and then toured several places, including Liberty of London. Most quilters will know what that is. It's a giant, iconic, high-end department store, but it has a huge fabric division, and quilters love, love, love their fabrics. Well, I'm shopping on their bargain bins because Liberty of London is a bit pricey, and I'm being, cost effective. And I find this lovely border print. And when I see it in the colors, and it's a little bit mid-century modern, kind of reminiscent of the 50s, I think immediately of this quilt that I started probably 6 or 8 years ago and never finished, like hardly got going, maybe 15%. And I think, oh, this border would be perfect. So I don't know that that really follows in your suggested ways of doing things because what I did is bought the border print to come home and now I'm working on that quilt. But it was good in the sense that it got me motivated again. It got me capturing that vision again and just getting started on it. I wonder, Tabatha, if you've got a kind of starting point that you typically like, is everyone different, or do you have a kind of entry point that you say, it's about mindset, or it's about, I don't know, what's your starting point that you recommend for quilters to get through that first UFO and get it done?
I think a lot of people would probably think, oh, everyone is different. But in reality, we just need that nudge. Sometimes, and a lot of times I tell people because they're like, oh, I've just lost my quilting mojo. Oh, I don't know where to start. Oh, it's so overwhelming. And I'm like, grab one thing, spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes working on it. Commit to 5 minutes. Because if you'll do it for 5 minutes, you might look up and be like, oh, wow, I worked on this for half an hour because you when that 5 minutes is all you need to recapture that joy, the serenity, the flow of making a project, any project. It doesn't even matter what it is, as long as it's something that you can commit to for 5 minutes. Because even long arming, if you're machine quilting and you're like, oh, it's such a big quilt, it's so much work to quilt this whole thing. But if you just start working on it for 5 minutes, then your body relaxes, you get into that flow, you forget about, the dog or whatever, and you just get something done. And then you feel such a sense of accomplishment because you moved forward on something, anything, right? You weren't spending that 5 minutes or 30 minutes watching Netflix, scrolling on your phone, that type of thing. You have accomplished something that made you feel good about yourself.
Mhm. And a lot of little somethings add up.
Exactly.
Back to the summit then. Taylor, I know you're massively involved in the organizing part of it. And I saw in summit number one, and if I imagine will be true in summit number two as well, that you have this great array of presenters with different topics, maybe different skill sets or different ways of presenting for sure. And I wonder if you would open up for us a little bit on kind of how you brainstorm that. How do you set that up to be a really well received, well attended, enthusiastic, engaging summit?
I think that we really tried to look at how can we make the Quilted Summit as welcoming and inclusive to as many quilters as possible. That's really our goal. So our mission, we actually own several businesses and multiple businesses in quilting together. And our mission in all of those is to create connection and community so that you finish projects, so that you get motivated. So if we bring it back down to connection and community, that then opens up for a variety of quilting topics and techniques. And then also this year, we've had a special focus on sustainability and using what you have and shopping your stash because we know this year people feel very sensitive to that because of our economy. And they still want to enjoy their hobbies, but we're also trying to be conservative with maybe the supplies we have or our budget for something like quilting. So this year in particular, we have included a lot of workshops in using your scraps, in how to use even the smallest pieces, or how to make scrap quilts beautiful, because a lot of people struggle with color theory and design. So there are several workshops with how do you reuse fabric or how to bring things together that typically do not piece well together, and understanding that there are strategies and frameworks for that. So we have teachers teaching classes on those kind of technical but creative ways to reuse. We also have workshops on um, preservation, so how to care for your quilt, how to also reuse things that are damaged or how to repair them. And there are all of these fun, creative ways that you can reimagine beyond just quilting, how to use those type of supplies that you have, or maybe a heirloom quilt or a project that you started and then it didn't just work out the way that you intended. So we've really got some fun workshops that also speak to those parts of our values and our mission for the summit itself.
And and we also have at least three that involve apps or some other technology.
Oh yeah, yeah,
In
that
those
also
in.
excites me too. That we had, I think, one in the spring. We had Kylie Ferrens with My Quilt come in and teach on how to use her app. But we have more and more interest, especially from younger quilters who are saying, "Hey, I want to use these apps. I want to use ChatGPT. I want to use a project management tool." So we're also really starting to see a little bit more digital component to quilting too, which is really exciting.
That is exciting. I especially love that you're finding the ways that younger people are connecting and really doubling down on that to bring them in. Unfortunately, I fall in the older, more traditional group, but I'm eager to learn some of these new methods, and I'm especially really eager to see younger quilters coming in and finding their own way within it. I so agree with you that a theme across the board this year seems to be this idea of using the things that you have, figuring out new ways. You said that all very well. And it seems like people are even finding that they're surprised by how kind of being forced to work within parameters expands their creativity. And I don't think that's a new theme. I just think maybe quilters have over time have learned to just go shopping, and that's been their solution. And it's kind of, we're seeing this principle at work. When you give yourself, particular rules about photography or about various creative things and guardrails and say, now you have to create from within this, and in our case it's from within what you have, surprising creativity comes to light. I just see that across social media and YouTube. I'm seeing that person after person after person is commenting on that. Are you seeing kind of the same thing too?
I would say so. I would say that, yeah, a lot of our speakers, like Diane Harris from Stash Bandit, is showing us how to use like making these extremely scrappy quilts. But when you look at them, they work. They go together, right? Like it's not just a hodgepodge that you're just like, man, that's weird. But it's like there's a cohesiveness to them. Um, One of our speakers who happens to be a young man, Julius Rempe Knight from Julius Handmade, his presentation is Confessions of a Scrap Hoarder. And so he's going to be talking about he's a paper piecer. So he designs paper piecing patterns. And so he's going to talk about how he's using all these tiny little scraps that he hoards because he can't just get rid of them. Because you
Right.
pay the same amount per yard for that little scrap that you did the whole yard. And don't
Yes.
get me wrong, I am a shopper. I love going and getting new fabric. I really do. Um, if anybody's ever seen my stash, you'll know that's true. But there is something nice about, oh, I'm just going to start this project and I'm only going to use what's in my stash for this project so I guess I can rein myself in a little, right? To prove to myself that I can make something beautiful that somebody else would love, that would make a great gift, and I don't have to go spend money on it.
Mhm.
Because for those of us who are fortunate enough that could go spend the money on it, it's nice for us to show other people who may not have that budget that they also can work within their stash. Or they can do like I do sometimes, and I call my friends up. I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, I need some gray. Can somebody please give me a piece of gray? I just need a little piece of gray. And you'd be surprised how many times your friends have what you need and vice versa. And that's the wonderful thing about the quilting community is they're all so generous.
I wonder if this is maybe a good moment to kind of get an overview of how the summit functions. So maybe talk about what the entry price is and how people can access it and kind of how long it's available for. Just give us highlights on that. And please know to all our viewers that lots of us that are presenting, as well as Taylor and Tabatha, are doing lots of social media posts over the next couple of weeks with full instructions for how to do this. We just want to give kind of a high level overview here of what it is that you're offering.
So the summit is September 16th and 17th, and it's a free online 2-day quilting summit. We have over 25 speakers and workshops. And for those 2 days, you can sign up with our free ticket. General admission is free, and you can watch all of those. We have some people who have told us, I stayed glued to my phone or my computer for 2 days because the content is so good and the workshops are so good. And we also have a free Facebook group. Not that you have to be on Facebook. You can watch the classes directly in your web browser. But we also have a free group if you want to talk and connect and meet the speakers and meet other community members. And so for those 2 days, it's completely free for people to access. We also have an upgraded ticket. It's called our All Access Pass. It is $79 right now. The price does go up on September 14th. But if you buy ahead of the summit starting, you can get it for a discount. And that $79 gets you lifetime access to all of the replays. So you can rewatch as many times as you want. You might still be watching some of these incredible classes, and 5 years from now, you get the absolute rights to do that. And it includes a virtual goodie bag. So all of our speakers and sponsors have put together extra classes, free digital patterns, exclusive coupon codes, and it adds up to about $1,200 worth of extra bonuses, which is really, really incredible from all of our speakers and partners. And then we also have a live sit and sew each night for 2 hours, you get to come on live and sew with Tabatha and some of our speakers and hang out in just this fun, like live sew in your pajamas, grab your wine or glass of tea and like hang out kind of experience. And that's also included with the all access pass. So that's both nights during the summit. And that all access pass is totally optional, but if you want extra time, if you want that goodie bag, you'll definitely want to go ahead and purchase it.
Not to mention, we have prizes from Aluso Irons, Kimberbell, Yazzie Bags, among a few others.
That is incredible. Like when you stop and think about what it costs to attend a live class, I think 79 is probably modest, for maybe a 90-minute class, right? And you're
Mhm.
getting literally hours and hours of
Yes.
classes available to you. Can you give me kind of a smattering? I mean, you talked briefly already, but kind of a smattering of what types of things there are. Like, are there classes on piecing or classes on, you mentioned color selection and sort of color theory. Are there classes on quilting? Are there classes on maybe photography or like what other types of things are represented that people can look forward to? And it's not just the sewing, right?
So we have somebody that's doing paper piecing and scrap, hoarding his scraps. We've got Susan Smith, who's going to teach us about photography and sewing. She's a long armor, an amazing free motion long armor. Because I can free motion, but it doesn't look like yours. And we have MJ Kimmon is coming back with color theory. We have Kylie with her digital app and Ula and Barbara coming back with their digital design quilt math. Trying to think, there's so many of them. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Yeah, so we have specific workshops on quilting with batiks in particular for those who enjoy batiks. We also have workshops on, let me see, I have it pulled up actually, foundation piecing, how to use fusibles and adhesives. We also have several patterns that are being taught, which is not something we did in our previous version of the summit, but this is something new and exciting we're offering. So we have several people teaching how to do kind of non-traditional shapes. So like the puzzle piece type patterns and layouts. We have people teaching on like patchwork specifically. And let's see, there
I
was
know
one.
Maria is teaching three-dimensional
Yeah.
flowers.
Yeah. Mm.
And Erin Grogan is teaching her curves.
Yeah.
And we have a new teacher named Rachel Joins, who is a certified stripology ruler instructor. So she's going to be
Okay.
showing how to use the stripology. Amber
Those
Haber
who,
is
if
coming
there's
back.
anyone listening who doesn't know what the stripology ruler is, it's this cool ruler with multiple slots in it to make cutting things that are repetitive widths and strips really fast and easy. And I bet you Rachel will have a ton of shortcuts and ideas for ways to use that ruler
Yes, because
efficiently.
anybody that's ever used it has said it changed their world.
I believe
Uh,
it. I
yeah,
believe it.
so Andy Stanfield is coming back. Amber from Cheeky Quilters is coming back with a new fun pattern idea with her collage. Who else do we have?
And Amy Smart, of course. She
Amy
was
Smart.
someone I think every quilter pretty much knows Amy Smart from Diary of a Quilter. She's one of the kind of originals in the online quilting and blogging space. So she'll be coming back and teaching modern quilting techniques and really understanding how to do modern quilting. So we have quite a variety. I think we mentioned a lot there that if you are someone who wants to maybe try new things, a question we get asked often is this for beginner quilters? What if I already have a lot of quilting experience? What if I'm coming in with 10 to 20 years of quilting experience? And what we've really tried to do with Quilted is make sure that there are classes and workshops for every level, and then also many different areas of interest. And the feedback that we got last time was so wonderful. And many people said, hey, I didn't expect to get very much from this because I've been quilting 20 years. And I learned so much and I have so many new, fresh ideas. And I think that really speaks to the quality of the teachers that we bring
Yes.
in.
Yes. And to your organization too, because you intentionally glean people from all different skill sets.
We didn't just accept every application we got. We actually picked out so that they would go well with our theme and all fit together well.
Lovely. And I can see that at work because just like you said, Taylor, people who have maybe quilted or sewn for many years, but tend to be in the same lane, the same style
Yes.
of quilts. This is such a great opportunity to come and for low or no cost, be able to sample
Mhm.
foundation paper piecing, for example. That's something I have not done very much. But to be able to come in and without committing to a whole quilt, you get a little bite-sized lesson on that and get the flavor of it. I just love that.
Exactly.
Thinking about the availability of the summit, is this available worldwide? Is it US or North America based? How is that working?
It's open to everyone worldwide. So it's very, very important to us when we say we want to create connection and community for quilters to help them achieve their goals, that we make sure that that is true for everybody. So that's also why we have a free ticket. And we actually have had people at our last summit in February 2025, which was our first one. We had people from 19 different countries join us from all over the world and in different time zones. And that is also why, because of the time difference for many people outside the US, if you are listening to this, when you join, you actually get access to those talks for the full 2 days, even if you are on the free ticket, so that if, let's say, when a talk airs, it's midnight your time or 3 a.m., you'll be able to watch that when you wake up. And we've tried to make sure that everyone has access and has the opportunity to join.
One other thing that I thought of too, from my experience as a presenter last time, you've made it very possible and easy for the presenter to be present in the chat. So while the video or the presentation is airing, I know I did this, I just hopped online and while it was going on, and especially near the end of it, opened up to some questions, and I had an opportunity to literally sit there and interact with the viewers. And alongside of that, you mentioned earlier, Taylor, too, there is a private Facebook group. And, optional, if you don't care to be on Facebook, that's fine. But if you do want that connection, same thing happens. The teachers are in there from time to time interacting. And certainly you could type questions and tag a presenter, ask that question, and they will then come and be able to answer it for you. So, multiple ways and touch points that we can all connect in there. Are the two of you active in that Facebook group as well? I know the answer to this, but I've got to ask it so everyone knows.
Yes.
I think stepping back a little bit more to your general, specifically you, Tabatha, your general mission. We touched on it at the beginning. You care so much about helping quilt makers or project makers finish their project. So maybe mention just quickly in passing here, what are some of the other things that you do that help people do that? I know you have a membership, am I right?
I do. I have a membership called Quilt Queens, and we have a chat forum and stuff, but we also have live components. We do live sit and sews on Wednesdays. We have a live Q&A coaching once a month. And of course, it's open 24/7. So we have like some people from Australia in there, and so their time zone is about half a day ahead of us. But that's really been great. I've met a lot of really great quilters, and I'm not always the one answering the questions. Sometimes somebody will ask a question, and five or six or 10 other people will give them suggestions, right? Like how to get this done. I've had some really great people in there saying that, this was what they needed to start quilting again. I've got a lovely lady in there named Marilyn who just started quilting again after a long hiatus because of, death in the family. And, just it took a lot to get going again. This is what she needed to get her going because the biggest thing about it is encouragement. Somebody gets stuck on a project, you have a dozen people going, you can do it, or like, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? You can get this done. We're here for you. Community is just huge for me in finishing your projects because not all of us are super organized. We don't all have a list with a journal. We haven't found Kylie's app yet. We're a little scattered. And so we need that extra little push to be like, oh yeah, get that done. Because to be honest, I just finished a quilt. I just put the binding on it. I pieced it in 2016. It just got done. But the reason it didn't get done is because I didn't have somebody to give it to yet. And it was something I wanted to wait to gift to somebody, and I had to wait for the right person to come along. I mean, honestly, that was the reason that one didn't get done. But sometimes they don't get done because we just throw them in a box and forget about them. something shiny catches our eye, we're like, ooh, look at that new pattern. Because, if you're on social media, your Instagram and Facebook, you're seeing new patterns constantly, all day long. Oh, that's pretty. Ooh, I'd like to make that, and you're halfway through this one. So one of the things I teach people is how to organize their UFOs so that they know if they pick up that container with that UFO, it's got all the fabric they need, it's got the pattern. If it needs a specialty ruler, it's all there so that you can pull it out, take it on retreat, go work on it, and not have to wonder, like, oh, well, I don't know if everything is in the box. I don't even know if I can do anything with this. So it's a lot
Mhm.
easier to get them done if you have organized your UFOs.
Yes, knowledge is power. And
Exactly.
certainly we can see how the summit is just another example of your mission, which is to help people get things done. I wonder, Tabitha or Taylor, either of you can answer this, but I wonder if something else that you find is that people sometimes put things away because they're too challenging, too difficult. The UFO of my own that I was talking about earlier, right? I started it 6 or 8 years ago. I hadn't pieced nearly as many quilts then. And when I opened it up this week, I had two completed blocks in it. They were different sizes, and neither of them was the right size. So when I started again, the one I had to remake because I didn't care for the background color and it had a piecing oops in it. So I remade it and I realized how much easier it came this time. And lo and behold, it came out accurate. So I hope this is kind of an encouragement, but I wonder if you find this to be true too. If you've put something away because it just was too hard, it struggled, discouraged you, give it some time, but revisit it because you'll be amazed at how much your skill level has grown in that time frame and over the projects that you've completed between. So do you find that to be true of people in your groups and in fact in the summit?
Yeah, I'll just say, and then I'll maybe give Tabitha a chance to add in some examples, but I'll say that actually this is something that we do in her Quilt Queens community, and I think is very true with the summit as well, is that we run a lot of challenges. And just this year alone, we like a once a month challenge, we've done pull out a tool that you bought and you never used because it was so intimidating, and let's just give it a try, right? Or a challenge where one month it was only charm packs and or finishing a project that you put away because it was too hard. And what people often tell us in joining these challenges is that, oh, I can't believe I let that sit for 5 years and then I just used it for 5 hours and it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. So I'll let Tabitha jump in. Maybe she has some more examples, but definitely something that we've seen with the challenge component that we do inside of Quilt Queens.
Oh, absolutely. Fry Rex rulers. Somebody's like, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to make them line up. And so we kind of had a little mini class that day on those because they're so useful and so versatile. And you can make so many things with them, right? Um, One of them was my example. I had a quilt that I pieced another one nearly 10 years ago. But when I pieced it, I didn't have the experience quilting the quilts as much. And I had just gotten my long arm, and I didn't realize that you should not embellish a quilt with beads before you quilt it.
Learned that one the hard way.
I did. Luckily, there wasn't too many beads, but there were some hand beaded seed bead components. And so I put it away because I was just like, well, now I don't know what to do. I don't want to give it to a long armer because they'll know I shouldn't have done that, right? I was kind of embarrassed about it. So I finally, after I gotten more experience, I pulled it back out. And so now I know, oh, I know how I can work around this on my long arm. And I have that confidence now to finish this project. But that was a reason I put it away is because I didn't know what I didn't know. Nobody had told me you should not put the embellishments on before you quilt it. So it was just something I learned. We've had people in our group pull out pre-made like kits, like because I'm not really a kit. I don't buy too many kits. I'm more of a pull it out of my stash and do whatever color I feel like. But a lot of quilters like kits. They like the kits already collated for them. And I'm always surprised at how many they have. So I'm like, okay, this month's challenge is you're gonna pull out a kit. I don't care if it's a big kit, a small kit, medium kit. Pull it out. That's what we're working on this month. And so then they're like, oh wow, yeah, that has been sitting there forever. And they're so happy and so accomplished when that challenge is over because they've pulled out the kit. They've made a new tool. They've used one of their the stack of pre-cuts they have. They've finished 3 or 4 UFOs because they've been motivated to work on just that for that month. Like you said, it's putting the guardrails up.
Yes, I so agree. Something that I see in quilt makers a lot is when they have, you probably see it with the kits, but I see it in a little later stage when they've already pieced the quilt top and they don't know how to quilt it or they can't afford to hire someone to quilt it. Somehow having those quilts that are pieced but not done is a bit of a weight. And
Hmm.
it's a creative stifler. I don't even know if that's a proper word, but that's what it feels like. You feel like you should. You should get them done. You should be giving them away. You shouldn't be shopping. You shouldn't be starting new things. And all of those things do have weight on our shoulders. So
Yes.
I'm kind of on a mission to help people get the thing quilted and not always give it away, but that is what we quilters mostly do. Give it away because that feeling is so good. So this is what one of my presentations is about. I call it Sew It, Quilt It, Love It, because that whole process of just getting it all together done is so wonderful. Whether
Hmm.
or not it comes out perfectly, you might be starting at a kindergarten level with quilting, but that is where we all start. And just the
Yes.
process of pressing through it and getting it done and the reward of that weight disappearing. One more thing finished, one more thing you
Right.
can give away and someone loves is so, so good. We haven't
Yeah.
really talked about, so I'm going to take a second and do it. My other presentation that I'm doing for this summit is on photographing quilts specifically. Now, I am not a photographer by training, or even by inclination necessarily, but over time and over practice, I have found some tricks and tips for photographing quilts just with a smartphone. So, no fancy equipment at all. Every one of us, I think, in North America anyway, has a smartphone at our disposal. And so it's just some simple settings and things in there that remarkably improve your photo level. And for me, I'm photographing for a business, but many people might be photographing just to document the quilts that they've made. They want to remember them and keep track of them. And this is a way to really up level that. So, again, I'm amazed at the variety of presenters that you have coming and the variety of skills that are coming in. I'm getting really excited about the summit myself. And I attend it, by the way. I listen to a lot of those sessions because, again, they're things that are new to me. They're outside of the things that I typically do. Do you guys find that presenters come that bring in things you've not done before? Like I know, Tabitha, you've been quilting for a long time. Do you still find new and surprising techniques?
Oh, absolutely. Erin's curved pieces. Well, I've done curved pieces. I haven't done it the way she did. So I'm really excited about that presentation. Bless her heart, Andy and her half square rectangles. I don't know that she's quite got me on board on that one yet. I haven't had some really great luck with learning that technique yet. But I'm going to keep giving it a try. It's harder than it looks, to me anyhow. Like I'm used to half square triangles and I got those down, but the half square rectangles are, my brain doesn't quite work for that way.
Is it a
What
bit
else?
like translating? I've not made half square rectangles, so clearly I need to be attending Andy's class too.
Yes, because that's her thing. She likes making half square rectangles. Um, some of the technology thing, like the math component that Barbara and Ula, because quilt math can be hard. And sometimes even I've quilted for a long time and I'm sitting there scratching my head going, okay, how big do I need to make this, right? Like what do I need to, how do I cut it first to make it end up this size? Or say you're enlarging something. I once enlarged a 12.5 inch block to being 3 times that size. And I had the hardest time remembering to add seam allow like not to add too many seam allowances or something. It was not easy. Um,
Right. You can't just triple the initial measurements. That
exactly.
does
I
not
learned that the
cut it.
hard way. You can't just triple the entire measurement because then you end up with way too many seam allowance measurements in there. So yeah, I'm learning something every time. And like I said, I do free motion my own quilts, but I am a very basic, loops, hearts, stars, that kind of thing. So your presentations are exciting because you have really developed that long arming free motion. You've spent the time to really get into it and make them really beautiful. And me, I'm just like, ooh, I just want to get this done in about 2 hours flat if I'm lucky, and we'll just get it quilted. It's just got swirls and I'm good because now I can get that one off. Because like you said,
Okay.
it all carries weight.
It does, but I have a pep talk for you. My pep talk is any free motion design, they're all made up of the same simple motions. So if you can swirl, there's a whole ton of other things that you can do. And you may not want to, no pressure intended here. But the truth of the matter is, quilting free motion in general can feel really, really intimidating to people because they usually say, I'm not an artist, I can't draw, et cetera, et cetera. I'm that person too. I can't sketch my way out of a paper sack. But there is a methodology to learning the shapes and then combining them and then learning how to move around a quilt top. And all of that absolutely can be learned. For anybody that wants to do free motion quilting, it's very doable, very reachable. And I'm your coach for that.
There you are. But I would like to level up my free motion.
Well, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Okay, let's do a quick recap. Taylor, maybe this is you. Just a recap of the dates, and I'll be sure to put links in the description. But if it's an easy one, maybe you want to say it here too, or what your website is and where people can find you quickly online.
Yes, well, we hope everyone who's listened to this joins us for Quilted, the virtual summit. It is September 16th and 17th. And you can just go to quiltedsummit.com. So it's quilted past tense because your projects are done. So quiltedsummit.com. And you can also find us if you're on social media. It's on Facebook and Instagram. Our handle is also Quilted Summit. And I'm sure that Susan will have the links to everything in the show notes of this episode. And we are looking forward to an incredible 2 days, again, at the largest quilting summit in now the world, which is really exciting. And it's going to be so much fun. And there's so much to learn and so many incredible people to connect with and make new friendships with and just get inspired. So come get your free ticket or upgrade to the paid ticket if that's within your budget and you're thinking, oh, I would spend thousands of dollars to learn from this many people live and in person. It's really an incredible value. So we hope to see you there.
And you don't have to travel.
Right. You can watch it in your PJs with your cup of tea in hand if you like. I totally agree with all of that. I will have a link up above as you're watching and in the description. If you use my affiliate link to join, that's kind of your way of saying to Taylor and Tabatha, yep, Susan sent me. And so I'd appreciate if you'd use that. Thanks, ladies, so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure to chat quilts and quilting topics with you.
Awesome. Thank you for having us, Susan.